Well, hello there. My name is HW, and thank you so much for watching Tone Junkie TV. If you haven't already, if you don't do it right when you start watching, can you please hit the like and subscribe? Okay, today we are talking about investing in vintage guitar gear in 2020. Now, this is maybe a little bit controversial, and I want to put a disclaimer out here. I am not suggesting that if you've been laid off, furloughed, if you have any uncertainty with your income going forward, and from looking at the channel analytics, I know there are a lot of people with 2 and 3 kids. I know that a lot of people are going to be getting $1,200, $2,400, $3,500, $3,900 if you're married and got a couple kids, 2 and 3 kids. A lot of people are about to get that Trump check, and I'm calling it Trump check because I heard he's putting his name on it. Do not invest your life savings in vintage gear. That would be totally awesome and totally stupid. I always promote generosity and responsibility. I'm not suggesting that you do anything stupid with your money. Now, looking at gear as a type of investment, or a type of investment where we're storing a lot of economic value, is not just for collectors and dealers. It's actually a very smart thing for players to do. In fact, if you look around right now, I know and meet a ton of people, I see them online, they make less than $100,000 per year. Yet they will have $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 worth of gear invested in a couple really expensive guitars, maybe Surs or vintage Gibsons or whatever, Veritas. It could be anything. On top of that, they'll have like some really expensive, a matchless amp, or they'll have a bunch of $1,200 in Strymon pedals on their board. And if you ask them, hey, could you afford to pay a $5,000, $6,000 bill right now? The answer is no. I mean, they wouldn't spend that much money on anything else. It is their absolute one thing that they are like really invested in. And so when you're thinking about what amp should I buy, what guitar should I buy, it's not unreasonable to think maybe I should buy one that won't go down in value. Maybe I should buy one that, not just for the economic value, not just for the purpose of an investment, but maybe I should buy one that I'll love, enjoy, play a ton, and will go up in value over time because they're not making any more of them. But first, story time. There I am minding my own business. I walk by a guitar shop after I was getting some coffee, Artisan Guitars. They tell me, we just started carrying Fender Custom Shop. HW, you should come to our event. I show up at the event. Robin Ford comes out. I win some pickups by answering this trivia question. Telecaster is named after the television. Broadcaster is named after broadcast television or broadcast radio. What is the Stratocaster named after? I was the only one in a room of about 50 people who knew that it was named after the stratosphere. You see, at the time the Stratocaster was being thought up and invented by Leo, the stratosphere, space travel, and sci-fi was all the rage. So Strat and Strat-O were sort of these prefix name monikers that were just really cool. Kind of like the Cybertruck, or AI, or deep learning, machine learning. They're just buzzwords. Anyway, that night I bought this guitar, and if I'm being completely honest with you, it's going to be a lot of years before I could sell this guitar for the amount I bought it for. Now, I don't regret buying Goldie. I would do it all over again. But it's only because I really love this instrument. You've heard me play and talk about Goldie. I think it's one of the best Strats I've ever encountered, and it just looks so cool. Look at that sparkle. Is that not to die for? Okay, but anyway, this has not been a good investment piece. So what might a good investment look like? Well, this is Sunny, my 67 335 that I bought about 30 days ago before the bigger dip in prices that we're seeing on Reverb and stuff, before all the discounts that people are putting their stuff on. And honestly, had I just waited to buy this guitar 3 or 4 weeks after I did, I probably would have paid $500 to $1,000 less. Probably $500 to $700 easily. I would have paid less for this guitar and I'd have the same guitar. And when I saw that, I went looking for another because I figured I might as well dollar cost average my 335s down. That's right. This is the only YouTube channel where we talk about dollar cost averaging 335s. I dare you to find another one. So I went on Reverb, I made a guy an offer, he took it, I was very happy with the deal. I got the guitar, the neck is in a little more rough shape than I thought it was gonna be. I think I got a better than market deal during the dip. So I got a really good deal on this. This is not a guitar that I could just, I didn't pay the guy half price. It's not a guitar that I could just flip and double my money or even make, $1,000 or something. But probably I paid hundreds of dollars under market. for this guitar, and I am very happy to hold on to it, watch a little recovery happen, and maybe get rid of it then, but I'm also happy to just hang on to it long term. I bought in this guitar, this 66 335. I now dollar cost averaged both of my 335s downward. So in essence, I got, on average, a better deal on both. Now that last 335 I got from a private seller on Reverb, but this 1966 Trini Lopez, which I bought shortly after, I decided to go find a really choice vintage instrument from a shop, knowing that a lot of shops were probably under a lot of cash pressure at the moment. Let me put it this way. Until about a year and a half ago, I worked at a family business, and I've just started helping out at that family business again to help them mitigate the damages and figure out what's going on with this whole COVID-19 crisis. That is a business that revenues have dropped more than 50%. We've had to lay off half the workers. The other half we've kept. We are trying to stay in business as best we can. We've had to ask people to take pay cuts. None of the owners are being paid. And to be honest with you, we are struggling to survive. But I noticed something. That meant that we were no longer concerned about margin in our sales. We were much more concerned with cash flow. Make sales even at low margins so we can keep the cash coming in, so we can keep the business alive, so we can pay our vendors, so we can pay and keep our employees that we value. We don't want to lose any more people. And that is the economic reality facing a lot of people right now. And so I know that if a shop paid $3,000 for a guitar 4 and 5 years ago that they wish they could get $8,000 for, but they can't, well, they might be willing to accept, I don't know, 5 today. And look, they still made money. But that 5, that could really pay their rent for a month. That could pay their employees for a month. That 5 is valuable cash flow. And right now, not a lot of people are willing to drop that much coin on a guitar right now. Thus, opportunity, investment. The shop is happy because they need the cash. They need cash coming in right now. It's been very common in the past couple of years for vintage shops to only put a third or half of their inventory online. And a lot of them, especially in markets like Nashville, have been able to rely on a lot of just foot traffic, people coming in. That is not a reality today. They now have to go completely online, put everything on there. And that means a lot of them have scaled back staff. They've pulled back a lot of expenses. They're willing to take less margin to make sales. They have new break-even points. They need to sell this month to keep the business viable. And they are a lot better off letting this thing go for $5,000 than hoping to sell it in 2 years for $8,000. Now, I want to be careful about seeming like I'm encouraging people to sort of take advantage of others. I don't think anybody's being taken advantage of here. Times like these, cash is king. This is when it is important, very important for businesses to produce cash. I guarantee you that Trini Lopez, I don't believe they lost money on it at all, but I guarantee you they thought 40 days ago if they would have put money on selling that Trini Lopez for $1,500 or $2,000 more than they actually sold it for. I do not believe that was a guitar they were interested in anything but margin. But when you get into these situations, making that extra $1,500 is not as valuable as freeing up the cash you have invested, because what I paid for that guitar, depending on where the shop is, it could pay their rent for a month. I have no idea. It could pay some employees for a while. It could do a lot of things. My point is, choices are good. And if you make someone an offer and you're trying to rip them off, that's on you. But if you make someone an offer and you're just looking at the data around you and going, hey, with everything going on, I think prices are down 20%. I think prices are down 25 or 30%. And I'm willing to make you this offer. They can always counter. They can always come back and say no. You can always start to work together. But it's an opportunity to give that person the option. Look, my point is, shops are willing to deal right now, so are private sellers, and that provides for us a real opportunity. But HW, you're talking about really expensive gear. I'm only getting $1,200. I'm only getting $2,400, and I'm not trying to spend anywhere near that on vintage gear. So, bro, I don't get it. What am I supposed to buy? I'm glad you asked. Here are some choice picks that I think you could get right now for your $1,200 or less. Vintage stuff that I think is going to go up in value, not down, on Reverb right now. Right now. Here they are. All right, you can see my screen here. I'm up on Reverb. Now, here is where I think there is the best buying opportunity, and this is kind of what I'm looking at, although I'm not into getting a bunch of pieces. I already have some of these pieces, and I bought them at good prices. There are some certain amps out there that are iconic, are well-known, and are from a big brand. Like today we're going to just talk about Fender real quick because there are other ones too you could find out. But I don't believe these amps are ever going to be worth less, and I'll tell you why. One, they've been beaten up in recent years because the trend has been to a different type of amp. And then two, this COVID-19 has beat them up. So what I'm talking about is slightly larger Fender amps from the 60s. The trend lately has been towards lightweight, mobile, small amps. And that's meant that Blackface Twins, Blackface Supers, even Blackface Pro Reverbs, even some of the bigger ones like Vibraluxes sometimes, although they're pretty small, people just don't want them. What you're seeing is Deluxes and Princetons people are paying more for Deluxes and Princetons from 64, 65, 66 in good condition than they are for Twins and Supers. That doesn't make any sense because the Twins and Supers are more power, bigger, they've always been more expensive, but people just like small amps right now. Now that's a trend, but that has not always been the trend, and amps have been just as heavy. Now people are going towards easier to use and stuff, but I don't see how something like a vintage 65 Blackface Twin is a bad investment right now. They're so cheap. They're at the point where they're so cheap that they can't go any cheaper, or else people will just buy them instead of new amps. You're always going to hit the floor of new amps, right? It's just like your house, right? Even in areas where housing's super cheap, the floor is always new construction. You usually cannot buy a house for way less than it costs to build a new house. I mean, only in times where there's way more supply than demand, but you can't make more supply of these 60s amps. So let's just look at it. Here's three I think are a good deal right now. $1,500. Look at this, a 1966 Princeton Blackface, previously owned original speaker, some dings. You got to ask, original speaker and tremolo. Look at some of these photos. Not the best photos, but this is a good condition. There's some rust on some of these metal pieces, but so what? You can see this thing's been beat up a little bit, dust. It looks like this thing's been stored in a basement at some point. I don't know. It looks spider webs. That's indicative of it's been in storage, right? And this is the type of thing you're going to want a tech to look through. But what's this? This is vintage glass right here. Okay, somebody owned this amp and then gave it to their kids, their grandkids. They didn't own. They stopped playing it. And this thing's been in storage in a basement, in a garage, and now it's being sold. Who's it being sold by? Bill's Music. Never heard of Bill's Music, but they're a preferred seller. So this thing went into a shop. Someone sold it to the shop. Look at this. Is this the, this is, you know what? This was replaced probably in the 60s or 70s if they used this big plug like that. So the last time anyone has loved on this amp has been quite a while. HW, this is $1,500. I'm only getting $1,200. Bro, make an offer. Are you kidding? The deals are in the offers. You don't know what Bill's Music's going through right now. Bill at Bill's Music, I got no idea about this company. Bill at Bill's Music revenue is probably down 50%. He's gone completely online. He's probably going, my business is down 50%. I've already cut back. Here's the revenue number I have to hit online for my break-even point. You're not taking advantage. Trust me, you're helping Bill. Give Bill an offer that is respectable. Don't offer Bill $600. Don't waste his time. But $1,500 plus 50 shipping. Hi, Bill. Really interested in the amp. I'm getting my Trump check tomorrow, or it just hit my account. Is there any way we could do this for $1,200 shipping included? Bill might go, deal. I bet Bill might have paid $650 for this amp a year ago. It's been sitting in a shop. Bill could be one of these guys who only puts a third of his inventory online normally because he's got traffic in a shop. Now it's him and his son, his nephew. He's got to put all the stuff online. It's his only business. He's in there every morning packing up this stuff, getting it out the door, trying to go, gosh, I'm so glad that I got on Reverb a couple years ago. I wish I had invested more in it, into videos, into traffic and all this stuff. I'd love to take $1,200. You just got it. And this thing will go for $1,500 online right now. But Bill might need it to go right now for $1,200. Trust me, you're not hurting Bill. He will not take your deal if he doesn't like it. Go to Reverb, search by Fender, go by used, under 1,500 bucks, right? Look at all this stuff. Look at this. 67 Bassman for 1,500 bucks, local pickup only with vintage 212 cap. My friends, this is a buy. Here's the problem. Local only. If you're in the New Jersey area, you could probably make this guy an offer for 1,200 bucks. You are going to get a killer deal because what speakers are in this thing? Well, he doesn't say. Does he show the speakers? Oh, he's got the original cap. I bet you this thing's untouched. Yeah, look at this. If this has been a set the whole time, closet find, yep. This is a deal right here. If you're in the Northeast and you can get to New Jersey, I bet you could figure out a way to safely social distance. You could call this guy and say, hey, will you take 1,200 bucks? Will you take 1,100 bucks? This is all I got right now. Will you take it? He might say yes. You drive 30 minutes, an hour. You pick this thing up. You tell him, hey, I'll PayPal you the money. We'll do the deal on here. I'll pay for it. I'll show up at your music shop. Can you just wheel it out front? You get your gloves, your mask. He goes back inside. You wipe it down where you're going to touch it. Dude, I did this. I did this the other week. You wipe it down. You put it in your trunk. You're good. You get home. You really wipe it down again. You're safe. You're safe, man. There's some good stuff here. But a lot of these guys doing local only are asking good prices. Pro Reverb 68. Local pickup only. Original speakers. Let's look at this. This is a buy. This is interesting. These Pro Reverbs are nice, dude. And this is a drip edge? 68 drip edge. Yep, it's got the C12 ends. Yep. Oh, he got it with the wrong speakers. He put 65s in there. So this is when it's a non-original amp, but it's been kind of put back to original spec. It has all blue model Ajax tone caps. That's good. Someone took pride in doing that. That's good. 3-prong cord. Original. Okay, so everything he replaced some wiring because this is a player's amp. But he's given you all the original stuff, which is what you want to do if you are going to do that to the amps. And you should do that to these drip edge amps. This is good. This is... Okay, local pickup only, though. He's in Dallas, Texas. This is a local guy. This is what I'm telling you. There's a rip in the Tolex. If you want a killer amp, and I'm telling you, there's a Blackface Pro Reverb sitting right next to me on the floor here that I just profiled. They are, I think, the best Fender circuits from the 60s. The 68s are almost identical in the circuit. These first drip edges are very similar. When you start to get 69 and 70, you start seeing more circuit changes, especially in 70. 68, you're going to be very close to Blackface spec. Who cares if it's not Blackface spec? This amp is going to sound beautiful. It's going to sound wonderful. If it's properly functioning, I guarantee you make this guy an offer for $1,000 to come pick it up at his house. He's going to take you very seriously. You're probably going to get it. Look at this. They're saying estimated value $1,000 to 68. I mean, this seems... Yeah, dude, this is the cheapest one right now. This is the cheapest you're going to get on Reverb right now. This is a buy. You can get this amp, you can enjoy it, you can play it, and in a couple years you're going to look up and this amp's worth $1,600, $1,700 all day long. All day long. So this is what I'm saying. Why buy the new one when you can buy this one? Why do that? You know, me personally, I got a couple amps I just want to hold on to right now. There's stuff that I maybe would have sold before, but I don't want to sell it right now in this down market. Amps that I bought right now that I think are good deals, that I got good deals on. The Bandmaster Reverb, I got a good deal on. I got a really solid deal. I think I can sell that amp for more money later on. The Showman here, I think I got a good deal on. Again, coming from a shop that got closed down early on in March, had to go all online, and you got to transition your business. You're supporting these shops by giving them options, and you can only come with your own economic reality. Here's the money I have to spend. Here's what I'm interested in. If a shop doesn't make it through this time, what they're going to end up doing, because they have to get out of their space because they can't pay their rent and stuff, the owner's going to take all that gear home, and he's probably going to go to another shop, and he's going to show up with 50 grand worth of gear, and he's going to probably have to sell it for 30 grand or 25 grand because that other shop's going to go, hey, dude, you just went out of business. You know, I don't have all the money in the world, and you're asking me to invest huge in inventory right now when sales are super slow. And that guy's going to have to liquidate. And that is not as good as getting 25 or 30% off the retail price he was trying to get 40 days ago. So I really think we're doing people a favor. We're helping them by making them offers. If you want to invest in vintage amps, if you want to dip your toe in vintage gear right now, I think now is a good time to do it. One thing I'll say is this: amps are a little more safe bet. You can get an amp in. If it doesn't function properly, you can go through Reverb and return it. A guitar is a little more subjective. I would like to get my hands on a lot of these, or you just got to accept you may buy one and you may immediately have to flip it, and that's all the more reason to get a good deal if you know you're going to flip it. Hey, I've been HW. I hope this has been a fun little chat and a fun thing you might be thinking about. Maybe it's time I got my first vintage amp. Again, we're talking about extra money that you don't need to feed your family, that you don't need for essentials. And we're not talking about investing your life savings or emptying your 401k to go buy a dumble. That would be awesome, but that would not be smart. I've been HW. Thank you so much for watching Tone Junkie TV. HW, out.